Don't tread on us, we're not afraid. You work for us, we're not your slaves. Don't tread on us, you crossed the line.
Hello, my name is Chris McIntyre. I'm the Public Relations Coordinator for 3% of Idaho. I'm sitting here with Brandon Curtis, our President of the 3% of Idaho. And what we're going to be talking about today is the Refugee Program, why the 3% is involved and concerned with the Refugee Program, our stance against it, and why we are organizing a march on November 1st to bring awareness to the inherent financial and security risks of the Refugee Program. So, Brandon?
Thanks, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I've got coffee, so
we're good.
Doing all right.
Yeah, so I just want to talk a little bit about our stance on the Refugee Program and why we're taking the stance that we are. First and foremost, I want to put out there, we're not against refugees. We believe that people do truly need help. But what we need to do is focus on how we're going to do that and how we're going to implement that into our Idaho here, the state of Idaho, or the United States for that matter. How's that look? There's a lot of concern, first and foremost, of security concerns, security threats. There's no vetting process, as we know. You and I have researched this together. There's a lot of factual information out there right from our government stating we just don't know all the time where they're coming from.
There are a lot of holes in the system and the methods for bringing these refugees in. Currently, they have kind of a dragnet policy from bringing in a lot of these refugees from war-torn, failed states. And because of the nature of these states, they don't have any way to properly document any of the refugees coming in. So there's no way for us to cross-reference the records that we have of them versus the non-existent records, over in Syria and some of these other states. So tell us a little bit about the march that we have coming up and its relation to the initial march that we had about a week ago.
Sure. So first of all, the march we had a week ago, which was in Twin Falls, Idaho, we had a pretty good showing. We had just around 200 people show up for that march. Members and non-members. We had people that came from the Twin Falls community. We had people that come from Sandpoint, as a matter of fact, due to the event that we put on, and plus our membership. So it was a very good showing. We marched up to the College of Southern Idaho, and we had a little rally there. A lot of support from the community, a lot of people driving by honking and waving, and I think the feeling that I got, people are just fed up. I don't think they feel like there's transparency in the program like we all feel, and that was voiced over and over by people that stopped and talked to us from the public and residents of Twin Falls, Idaho.
Do you feel that the sentiment and the feeling of the refugee program that exists in Twin Falls or outside of the area is accurately represented in the media?
No, it is not. It was very apparent and made clear when we were there last weekend.
And that is some of the issues that we have been running into with the media, especially with the refugee program, is that for every one person that showed up to the march in Twin Falls, there are at least 20 people for every one person that have the same views and feel just as strongly against the refugee program. And it's not against individuals, it's not against people needing help, and it's not lending a humanitarian hand. People are seeing what's happening in Europe with this massive immigration, and they fear that the things that are happening in Europe with the riotous behavior, with a lot of the murders, the rapes, and the crimes, that it will trickle down into our communities because they are the exact same programs that are being implemented here as they are in Europe. Now, some of the security concerns, we've actually had refugees come to the Boise area that have been gotten into legal trouble because of some of their behaviors.
Correct. Really recently, we had the gentleman that was on trial here in Boise for the bombs and his terrorist tie-ins that he has from where he came from, and he was a product of the refugee program. And that's a perfect example of why we need to vet these people. On one hand, we have the federal government telling people to support the refugee program because their vetting process takes 12 to 18 months because they check all these backgrounds, these records from where they're coming from. Well, we know that's a lie. And the reason why we know that's a lie, because there is no background or documents to check because those countries don't keep that information.
Right.
So it's a blatant lie.
Right.
And it's really frustrating. You can always look at it this way. Would you take a person that you have no idea where they came from, who they are, what they're about, put them in your home with you, with your significant other, children, and stay and have them stay in your home and not know anything about them?
The majority of people would not.
Almost every person, even the supporters of the refugee program, as the way it stands right now, say, no, I would not do that.
Right.
Well, what makes that any different?
Yeah.
That's always my question, and they can never answer that. And that's a real problem. What we would like to see is some sort of program put in place that if they can't be vetted, they cannot come here.
Right.
If you go back to the way it used to be, when people would come here, the immigrants would come here to the United States of America, they went through a process. They went to Ellis Island. They had to be processed. They had to be verified and checked. Where did that program go? Because those people were coming here and they are doing it in a way that they can say, hey, we're not terrorists, we don't have terrorist ties, we're not here to hurt anybody, we want to come over and truly change our life and truly make a difference, because those people are coming from hard times.
Yes.
And the current program is being proven not to work.
Right. So the refugee march that we will be putting on against the current refugee program will be taking place on November 1st, correct?
Correct. We're going to be holding that here in Boise on November 1st. It will start at noon, and it's going to be at Julie Davis Park. And we'll be marching from Julie Davis Park to the state Capitol building, where we will hold a rally there. We're asking everyone to come. I would like to see at least 500 people come. We called for 300 in Twin Falls. We got 200, and I was thrilled with that. This time we're in Boise. We need at least 500 people. There's no reason we should not get 500 people. And you don't need to be a member of the 3% of Idaho to come march with us. If you believe there's some problems that need to be fixed in the refugee program, come down, march with us, be heard. And I can tell you, we were heard in Twin Falls. We were heard loudly in Twin Falls, and we want to have that same effect here. And we're asking you to come join us. Come down early to Julie Davis Park and meet with us if you're not a member, so you can get to talk to us. We'll be down there about 10 a.m. to start setting up and preparing. We'll have information about the 3% of Idaho. We'll have information about the refugee program as it stands now. We can answer any questions that you may have.
And Boise being a bigger area, we have a larger demographic here. Twin Falls, for the size of this, the town that it is, was a very large turnout. So there's no reason that we can't be loud enough here in Boise where we actually make the national news. So again, go ahead and go onto our Facebook page and look at the event that we have going on. It'll give you details about when and where. You can also reference this video. Check it out. Share the event. As many places as you can. Share this video. We really would like to get that 500 number out here, because every event that we go to, we are building in numbers in terms of participation. And in doing that, we're going to grow our membership. We're going to grow our movement. We're going to become more solid as an organization. We're going to build our foundation, and it's going to be much easier for us to continue to spread our message.
Absolutely. And the other thing, to be heard, you need numbers.
Right.
And we won't be heard if we don't have the numbers.
Right.
And again, I want to make this clear. We're not marching against the refugees themselves. We're marching against the current program in place. Right. It is a constant drain on our social services, our programs that we have here. And the point we're trying to make is we want to stand for Idahoans first. Let's look out for Idaho vets, Idaho homeless, and Idaho students. Right. Then we can look at a refugee program. But let's take care of our own first. And that's what's important.
Yep. If the College of Southern Idaho is going to be accepting, millions of federal dollars to, basically dump it into a broken refugee system, there's no reason that, being the large community resource that they are, they cannot focus on the community first. Because without strong communities, without strong families, and without a strong city, we're not helping anyone by bringing in massive amounts of refugees. It's actually a detriment to us. It behooves us to build our communities first. There are hundreds of veterans who are coming back from active duty, and there are delays in the type of care that they receive. 22 veterans a day are killing themselves because of suicide, because of depression, because of post-traumatic stress disorder, and they're not being taken care of. Many of these vets turn to addiction, they turn to drugs, they turn to alcoholism, they become homeless. And it's very hypocritical for a community to support them when, before they go to combat and while they're there, and to completely ignore them when they come home. So we are asking the College of Southern Idaho to stop this refugee program and to focus on the homeless that's the homeless issue that's already here. Focus on citizens that are already here. We have many students, I used to be one of them, that struggle from the crippling debt of, pursuing a higher education. Lobby for programs to relieve those students of that debt. Lobby for more, social services to help these programs, or to help these homeless and to help these veterans, to help all of our citizens. Because again, we're not helping anybody unless we have a strong community first.
Absolutely. And it'd be interesting to know what the College of Southern Idaho stance is on helping homeless in their own community. What have they done for the homeless over there? It'd be interesting to see that. They also put out a statement to the press last week after we had our march about how they're only given 5% from the federal government for the refugee program, but they're not accepting tax dollars. Well, here's the newsflash for you, College of Southern Idaho. Anything you take from the federal government is tax money that I pay. Tax money that you pay, tax money that you pay. So that's an absolutely false statement that you made and a down outright lie, because you are accepting tax money and it's my tax money and I'm not okay with that. So we're here to make a change. And what are you going to do, College of Southern Idaho, to help the community in your area of Twin Falls or the Treasure Valley and Magic Valley together, since you have students from both those areas? And what are you going to do to help the struggling students that may be living in their cars, or their family is living in a car, or they're homeless? What are you doing for your community? Why don't you step up and let's talk about that?
Idaho citizens first.
Absolutely. And if you want to help with our movement and you want to become a part of us, or we have a lot of people that want to be members but they work over the road, they don't have the time, the only way we can do this is with your donations. We need your help. We're all a volunteer organization, and we would like to take that up a notch and step that up and be more involved in what we do and protect Idahoans. So anything you could possibly do, we would greatly appreciate that. And our donation link is through PayPal. We have a nonprofit set up. We are a nonprofit organization, so it's absolutely tax deductible. And if you want to support us, our PayPal link is, or our PayPal email address is donations@iii%idaho.org. That's donations@iii%idaho.org. Anything would help. Thank you.
Don't tread on us, we're not afraid. You work for us, we're not your slaves. Don't tread on us, you crossed the line. Soon you will pay for all your crimes. After a long train of abusive and dissipation, now we've lost our patience. Yeah, you're trying to kill our constitution, to kill our pride. Now the wood is dry. Yeah. Don't tread on us, we're not afraid. You work for us, we're not your slaves. Don't tread on us, you crossed the line. Soon you will pay for all your crimes. You keep on pushing us into desperation. You lonely fuel our determination. Yeah, it's been way too long since the last time, 1776. Now we're done with your tricks. Yeah, don't tread on us. Don't tread on us. We're not afraid. You work for us. We're not your slaves.